Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Bloop, bloop, bloop. All good. Perfect, Mike. Thank you. Thank you, Dre. Bonjour, Father. Perfect, perfect. Thank you, Suzy. Je t'en prie, Nathalie. So, tu me diras s'il me contacte ou pas et où, et je amènerai quand je viens. Hello, everybody. So, today we are going to have a tour about the opera, the famous Paris Opera, and we're going to have the tour not only about the building, but also about one of the French greatest painter who is so well known for his painting about the little dancer from the opera. And I want to, how do you say in English? In French, we say tordre le cou. Tordre le cou, it means you twist the neck of somebody. I don't know how to say that. It means when there is a rumor, for instance, you want to say, no, this is a false rumor. You know? How do you say that? Tordre le cou. I don't know if you get the idea of that. Somebody say, this is true, and you say, no, this is a false information. I want to stop this bad information. You have got a word for that in English? Tordre le cou? Twist the neck? Fake news? The fake news, this is it, but how you stop it, the fake news, you know? Fake news, this is the fake news. But then when you want to stop the fake news, you say in French, we say we are going to twist the neck. Pull my leg? No. Pull my leg is more like a joke, I think. No, really, we say, you know, we want to kill the fake news. Tape his mouth closed, okay? Nip in the bud. Twist the arm maybe. Kick it off at the pass. Stop it in tracks. Wow, strangle. Yes, that's. Cut the head off the snake. Cut the head of the snake. Yes, that's also I get that one. Well, anyway, you get the idea about Degas and the famous lady, the famous dancer, because you know there's a lot of false, not fake news, but false information about that. Put the record straight. I like that one too. Pull the record straight. Okay, so I will use the Brighton one. So we start the tour, my dear friends. So welcome in Paris. You are with Patrick, your guide. You know me, I think. If there's new people on board, welcome to the newcomers. I'm in Paris, and today I bring you to the Paris Opera. And in the opera, I'm going to start by the view of the opera, but a very beautiful view, no? You know, if you are late today, you are going to miss that, because I went to the rooftop of the Galerie Lafayette to show you the opera from the sky. And to start with the view of the opera, not from the street, but from the sky. Well, this is a little teasing, you know, about the tour we're going to do in Christmas, when I will bring you to the rooftop of Paris to see Paris with the Christmas illumination by night. So this is the Paris Opera. This is one of the cupola here at the Paris Opera, and this is the back side of the Paris Opera, okay? And so we are just by it, and here you've got one of the entrance of the Paris Opera right here. This is the entrance of the artist. So this is just the opposite of the public entrance in the evening when you come for the concert, okay? And oh yes, you can see the Eiffel Tower from here too, no? Isn't it? Not a bad view, no? On the way to the Eiffel Tower, you've got the Madeleine. Here is the tower. Quite nice. In front of the tower, you've got the Madeleine, and on the side of the Madeleine, you can see the Grand Palais with the glass roof. And from here, you've got the view from the street. But don't think the street is so close. We are in a quite high position, okay? So I hope you don't have any troubles with the height, because myself, I don't. And as you can see, we're in the heart of Paris. Anyway, it was just a short introduction to speak about the opera and to show you the opera from the top. And now I'm going to give you some details about the opera, and then I'm going to go down and I'm going to walk around the opera to be able to explain you the whole building. But when I walk by the opera, you just see the bottom of the opera. You just see the last, the first floor or the ground floor. And from here, I can show you the whole building. So I think it's quite interesting for you to be able to see that and to discover the building from its from the sky, really. Yeah. So as I said, the opera has got 4 entrances. The first one here, this is the entrance for the artist. This gate here bring inside the artist, the technician, all the people which are going to make the show. Then, if you go by that side, you will see there is an entrance for the visitors during the daytime, which was also the entrance for the emperor at the time of the grand opening. On the side here, where you've got the cupola, nowadays it's a restaurant, and before that was a VIP entrance. And in the front, so the other side of the opera, you've got all the location with all the place where you are waiting to go to see the show. Okay, so all the meeting rooms, all the different beautiful rooms, the beautiful staircase, all that is into the front. Okay, my dear friend, so now we leave the rooftop and we're going to go down. That's why I said if some of you are late, they would have missed it. So I hope you are not too late. And I love that thing here. J'aime Paris, je t'aime. Isn't it so true that we all love Paris? Look, there's quite a lot of people tonight. You see, I'm not alone. Look at that. I'm not the only one at the rooftop. Many people are here having the pleasure of the view in Paris. So we are from the rooftop of the Galerie Lafayette, which is one of the department stores in this neighborhood, one of the 2 department stores. I stop like that so you have time to make some postcards if you want from the opera and of course from the rest of Paris. Over there, the Invalides, the grave place for Napoleon. Yes, they still have got an outdoor cafe. And here, so the tower. The outdoor cafe is the other side over there. I don't know if you can see it. Let me show you. Okay, you see where there's a kind of tent over there? Over there. You see the triangle tent? This is where they have the outdoor cafe. Oh, so it's not always opera. It also can be different ballet. Because for the lyrics, in fact, so I go down now, okay? So for a while, I'm going to show you pictures because now it's not fantastic. We just go down by the escalators. So for the lyrics opera, you may go more to the Bastille opera, where we have got most of the lyrics. Here in the Garnier opera, we have got more about the ballet dancing. So like the Swan-like or Casse-Noisette or this kind of thing. Debunk the myth, put the story straight. That's a long one, but I take it. So first, let me post you an image of the opera where we go now. I just look for my pictures. Here it is. So first you have to think it has been, okay, look at that. You see, it has been a huge works. So we're going to start building this opera in 1861, and you see on my side, this is the pictures of that time at the end of the building. So we are going to destroy, in fact, everything around the opera to be able to build it. And as you can see, the location was not that easy because it was like a kind of losange, a kind of a rectangle, square, but like a triangle. So the opera also has got that shape, which is quite weird. It's because the architect Charles Garnier has to find a way to fit it inside the location which was available for the opera. You know, he didn't build the opera and we built the house after. No, Osman decided to build the house and he said to Garnier, you have got that location, deal with it, okay, which is completely different. And so we are going to have works in this part of Paris for 10 years, okay? So the opera is going to start in 1861 and is going to be finished in 1875. The opera has been built at the demands of Napoleon III to be a place where the people could meet. Let me show you another image of the opera at that time. Here it is. You see the street works. It was a nightmare. These days we complain when we are in Paris, oh, so much street works, it's terrible. But imagine in 1860, Paris was a huge street work, incredible. Everything was broken, everything was rebuilt. So Napoleon asked for the opera, but the opera has been finished in 1875. And in fact, at that time, Napoleon was not anymore at the head of France because Napoleon, after the defeat of Sedan in 1870, has been captured by the Prussians and he has been dismissed of his function of Emperor of the French. So when the opera was finished, we were under the Third Republic, which was led by Republican people, and the architect Charles Garnier, which was very close from Napoleon III, hasn't been invited to the grand opening of his opera. That's quite incredible, you know. He built it, he created it, but as he was too close from the emperor, the people said, no, no, you are too close from the emperor, we don't like you, you are not invited. So he came, you know, but he paid his ticket to be able to enter to the opera. So the opera itself, it's a huge structure, and I'm going to show you another image for you to understand what I can't show you. I can't show you from real. So this is like if the opera was cut, you know, in two. So you can see the different structure. So what we saw when I was at the top, it is the highest part of the building that you see now with the black place, which is in fact all the technical place with the stage. So it's here, in fact, that everything is prepared on where the dancers are preparing, and there is a stage. In the back of this building, that's where we have got the entrance of the artist. That's by where you have got all the background, if I can say. Then in the middle, where you see the cupola, that's where we have got the people are seated. So that's where we have the people seated and where the people are looking at the show. And in the front, on my little image, this is where you have, in fact, all the meeting room, as I said before. So why do we have all this meeting room? That could be looks kind of a bit strange. Why do we have meeting rooms? In fact, we have meeting rooms for the simple reason that at that time the emperor wanted to create the opera, of course, for a place of listening music and going for music, but also a place where the people could. Am I the wrong floor? Because I don't find the way out. I think I went. I think I went to the first floor instead of the ground floor. Patrick's, you are stupid. Where am I? I think I went to the wrong floor. That's why I don't find the way out. I'm speaking to you. I'm concentrating on my camera, and I don't. No, this is -1. So I was at the right floor. So that's very strange. Anyway, let me carry on my speaking. So he wanted to create a place where the people were going to be able to meet, where the people were going to be able to reach each other. So that's why the front part of the opera that where you have got the beautiful staircase, were a place of showing off, were a place where the people could meet the other one. And you have to understand that. And that's very important for my story that I'm going to tell you now. The people were going usually 3 times a week to the opera. When I say the people, I should say the top hat men, the rich men, were going 3 times a week to the opera. The first the first time they were going, it was usually with their wife, and the wife has to be clothed very beautifully. Why that? As I said, it's a showing of place. So the wife needs to get the beautiful jewelry, the beautiful dress, the beautiful bags, the hat, and things like that. That's why around the opera, you are going to have got all these expensive shops, and later on the department store, like the one where I am now, which are going to open. And because like that, if you don't come with the latest dress, or if you don't come with something absolutely amazing, if you, the man, you don't have enough money to pay something beautiful to your wife, meaning you are not healthy, meaning you may not be able to do some deals. Never forget, the opera has been built at the time of the Industrial Revolution. So we are in the street, where we left it. So the opera being built at the time of the Industrial Revolution, it means that at that time the money were not anymore the aristocracy, but the money was done or was held by the people from the industry, the people who have got the companies. And these people needed to build themselves. That's why I speak about top hat men. I speak about the men, the bourgeois, who have got the money and goes to the opera. So, as I said, the man goes to the opera. Here it is, the opera from the bottom. 3 times a week. First, he comes with his wife. He shows his wife, like if the wife was a jewelry, just to show, look how healthy I am, look how rich I am, look how my wife is well dressed. Then she was coming. If he has a daughter, unmarried, he was coming 2 days after, and he was bringing his daughter. Why that? It was like a market. He was bringing the daughter, hoping that he's going to be able to find a rich man to marry his daughter. So also the daughter had to be pretty and had to have beautiful clothes, because like that it was showing that the daughter was a good person to marry and could attract rich people. So you see, it was like a market. And the third time, the third day, what our rich person was doing? In fact, the third day, he was coming with his mistress. So a lot of these mistress, in fact, were dancers or former dancers, which were not dancing that day, of course. So meaning, he was also doing his market inside the opera. How he was doing that? By being a rich person, you could buy at that time a kind of VIP card. With that VIP card, it was a seasonal ticket, meaning you can come to the opera whenever you want it. And if you have that ticket, you also have got a privilege to be able to go to the backstage. And going to the backstage, you are not going to the backstage to meet the technician, the musician. You are going to the backstage to meet the dancer. And when we're going to speak about Degas in a couple of minutes, I'm going to show you some painting of Degas that you are going to be very surprised, because if you look them carefully, you are going to see that Degas is going to say that, he's going to show that the top hat men were there. But that it will be a little bit later on in our history. So we are on the side of the opera now, and we are arriving by the place that we call the entrance emperor. Just a few figures more about the opera. So the opera took something like 14 years, to be built. And it was to be the place also where we have got the Academy of Music, the Academy of Dance, and the Lyric Academy. So there was 3 academy. And one of these academy, the Dance Academy, they were rehearsing every day in the attic of the opera, exactly at the top of here. They were rehearsing in the attic. And when they were rehearsing, yes, thank you, Natalia. We'll be careful of that. When that's a private joke between Natalia and me. Because when she was in Paris, there was a beggar which was right here. And the beggar was putting her little goblet to get the money in front of her in a transparent goblet. So, one person out of two was hitting the goblet, and then they were feeling so bad that they were giving some more money to the beggars. That took Natalie. The beggars did not hear. So, what was saying? Yes, I said that the opera girls, the dancers, were rehearsing over there. And when they were rehearsing over there, as they were in the attics, the floor was in wood. And as it was in wood, every time they were jumping for dancing, it was like tack, 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 tack. So that's why the people which were working in the opera were saying, oh, the little rats are back. Because, it was the same noise that if you've got hundreds of rats in your attics. And oh, yeah, thank you, Linda. And so, due to that, we keep the nickname of the ballet school of the opera that the little girls are named les rats de l'opéra. Of course, it's not real rats; it is just a nickname. So, when you come to the opera to visit nowadays, you enter by this entrance and you pass in front of the statue of Charles Garnier. So, let me introduce you the architect of the Paris Opera, him, Charles Garnier. It's him who won the project. It's him who built the opera for the pleasure of Napoleon III. And when we look at the style of the opera, I mean the architectural style of the opera, we call it an eclectic style. Why that? Because if you look carefully, you've got square columns. You see? Square columns, more like Romans. Then you've got some columns like Greek, like the Corinthian columns. Then you've got a kind of classic Baroque style. Then you've got, in fact, you don't have one style. It's a kind of mix of all the style. That's why we name it the eclectic style. Also, we're going to have got a lot of different types of materials. When you look at these beautiful lampposts, for instance, which are all over the opera, you can see we use the bronze. You see, that is in bronze. Then we use a kind of marble, a kind of white marbles. And then when you go to the top, you're going to see a pink marble. When you are in the opera, the staircase have got more than 20 types of marble, which are different to create a kind of incredible eclectic vision of the opera. And when the Imperatrice Eugenie came to the opera and said to Charles Garnier, but please, Mr. The architect, can you tell me what is this style? Because I don't exactly recognize the style. He said, oh, my dear Imperatrice, this is a style Napoleon III. What? A man who was, in French, we say he's licking the bottom. He's just saying, oh, this is a style created by your husband. Wow. Well, anyway, brown nose, you say in American? Okay. So what a brown nose. Kissing, okay, Fraser. Okay. So you start using words that I can't use online, but I mean, I leave you the expression by yourself because it's you who is typing, it's you who is putting in the chat session. It's not me. So then, think that the opera has never been used by the emperor because he was dismissed, but the opera, in fact, is going to play the role that the emperor wanted it to play. It means it's going to be the place where everybody for showing off. And you see, nowadays, we still have got nearly every day, not every day. You see, this is the program of the opera from the 16th to the 30th of September. So today we are the 20th. And you see, today at 7:30 p.m., there is a ballet from Foyer, which is named the Cri du Cœur, the cry, not the cry, the shout of the heart. I don't know how to say that in English. The heart shout. I don't know. You see, it's today. So you see, nearly every day you've got a ballet. And so here we are in Opera Garnier, And if you want to see the lyrics, you go more to the Opera Bastille. And you see today in Opera Bastille, you've got, oh, that's a very nice one, from Mozart, La Flûte Enchantée, from Amadeus Mozart, Cry from the Heart. Okay, and La Flûte Enchantée, so the enchanted flute. So we see every day there is going to have nearly every day a show, the magic flute. Okay, magic flute from Mozart. So you see it's different. Okay, an opera in Bastille, a ballet in Garnier. So we carry on our history of the opera. So the rich person are going to be there, and this rich person, the top hat men from the new bourgeoisie, which are living, in the beautiful building that you see in this neighborhood. Because what do we see over there? We only see Haussmannian building, you see, created by Baron Haussmann at the demands of Napoleon the third. Okay, so this beautiful building, very expensive, were not existing before 1860. Okay, and so we start destroying the center of Paris to create a new, very modern city. So for that, we destroyed all the buildings from the Middle Age and from the time before, and we rebuilt all these beautiful buildings. The consequences of that is these buildings, which are absolutely gorgeous, are also very expensive. They are limestone and very expensive to live in, meaning that all the working class of Paris, which were always making the revolution, in 1789, in 1830, in 1848, all these people are going to be taken out of Paris after that. So they're going to go to the north of Paris, in Montmartre or places like that. That's why in 1871, when we have got the rebellion in Paris, in fact, it's mainly going to be in the outskirts in Paris, like Montmartre or the 13th district or the 20th district. So this is the neighborhood of the opera. And now, have a look to the front part of the opera. So this is by where tonight, when the people are going to go for the ballet, they are going to enter by these doors. Okay, this is the public entrance for the opera, and during the daytime you can visit the opera, isn't it, Natalie? And when you visit the opera, you can be located in this gallery, and you can have from this gallery a beautiful view on the Place de l'Opéra. And behind that gallery, you've got one of the most fabulous rooms in the opera, which is a bit like the Gallery of the Mirror in Versailles. Above that, you see you've got many statues, busts, which are from famous music composer or directors. For instance, here Mozart, we were just speaking about it. Of course, these people were already dead, okay? Mozart died in 1791 when the opera has been finished in 1875, so nearly 80 years after, but doesn't matter. His play has been played here. Or you see next to Mozart, you've got Beethoven, or you've got Aubert, famous opera composer, or you've got Spontini, or you've got Meyerbeer. So lots of famous. And at the top of that, after that, at the upper part, you've got two letters which are repeated all over the top of the opera. You see an N and E. N, E, N, E, N. Why that? This is standing for N for Napoleon, and the E for Eugenie. Eugenie, which was the emperatrice of the French. So that's why we've got the N and the E. And at the top part of the opera, you've got these golden statues, which are made by feather of gold. So it's real gold, lots of putty. So it's real gold, and they are representing the music, kind of symbolic of the music and the lyrics. which are at the top of the opera. Then, if you go back down, you are going to see they have got some statues which have been made by a French sculptor named Carpeau. And this statue, at the time of the beginning of the opera, have been scandalous, especially this one. This one is representing la danse, the dance. This is the statue from Carpeau symbolizing the dance. And you see, that has been considered by the prude people at that time like such erotic and scandalous sculpting, because of course, what do you see? Oh my God, you see the boobs of the lady, you nearly see the down part of the ladies, and the manhood is just hid by a little piece of cotton. And so you see, that has been considered to be so scandalous that the people came here and they put painted on it. They covered they covered the sculpting by painting, saying this is not at all something which is respectable. Wow, now we don't think that, but for a long time, it has been considered to be not at all a nice painting. Also, something interesting here about when we look at the lamp post, you have to remember that the first building which has been light with a bubble electric lamp is the opera. So all the lamp posts you see here, or all the lamp posts that you see the other side, and all the lampposts which are going to be from the opera by the avenue of the opera going down to the Louvre Museum. Because if you go down by this avenue and if you go straight at the end of that avenue, my friend, you've got the Louvre. You see, if I try to zoom in, you will see one of the dome of the Louvre. And so all the lampposts you see by here have been done by, Thomas Edison in competition with Westinghouse for the lighting of Paris. So let's carry on a little bit our history of the opera, and let's come for the last 15 minutes of the tour about Degas and the opera. So why Degas and the opera is so important? So now if we go on the side of the opera, if we go by the artist entrance. So I show you a 3D model of the opera for you to understand how we have been turning around. So we started the tour by the Galerie Lafayette, which are over there, somewhere over there, and we looked at the back. Then we went in the street. We passed by the artist entrance. Then we turned that side, passing by the emperor entrance. Then now we are here in front of the main entrance. And now we go on the side where there is a way out of the opera and where also you've got a restaurant. And that restaurant before was the artist entrance. So now I'm going to show you some painting of Degas. And you're going to tell me, looking carefully about the painting, if you think Degas was only painting the girls or he was also revealing something more dark side. Yes, all the visitors, because we all enter by the emperor entrance. Well, in fact, the emperor entrance have got a kind of little road for the coach, which were the first floor. So the emperor was supposed to enter by the first floor, and we enter by the ground floor. But after couples of meters, we are at the first floor in the opera. So yes, we do use the emperor entrance nowadays for the visit during the daytimes, not for the show. For the show, we go by the other side because we worth it. Absolutely, Alex. I do totally agree with you. So let me show you some painting of Edgar Degas for you to understand. First, let me show you some pictures of the dancer. This is one of the dancer from the Academic of Dance of the Opera. Let's show you another one. This is another one, dancer from the Academic of Dance. When you see these two images, what do you immediately see? You see young ladies. very young ladies. So it means the top hat men were not coming here to find mature ladies, you know, they were coming here to find teenagers, which was, of course, completely, yes, absolutely, Diana, dirty old men. And so that's what Degas is going to point. Look that. Look at that painting of Degas. So now what I show you is painting of Degas. You see the lady who is sitting on the side. She's somebody who is taking care of the dancer. She could be the mother, she could be the aunt, but in fact, the young dancer come to the opera and a chaperone, yes, and that chaperone was in fact a mackerel mother. It's mean, she was coming here to deal with the dirty old man, the fact that he could be with her daughter or her chaperone. It's mean, on most of all the guy works social commentary, uh, not all, but about the painting especially. Look at this one. Let me show you another one. You see on that painting, you see the dancer. She's exhausted. She has finished dancing, but look next to her. Look next to her. Uh, what do you say? Strange composition for painting. Ah, yes, yes, strange composition, absolutely. And you see on this one, you see the lady, and she's sitting like the exhausted daughter. It's mean. By that, the guy is showing she just bring her like you bring a cow to the market, to be bought. Let's carry on some of the image I wanted to share with you for you to understand that carefully. Look at that painting of Degas and look carefully. You see the ballet dancer on the stage, but look, I put a red circle around the top hat man. You see, Degas didn't only painted the dancer, he also painted the top hat man, the dirty old man which were coming here. No, 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 no. Here it's not the professor. Don't think he's a professor. He's one of these men. Look at another one. You see in the back here. It's not the professor. Okay, this is, you see, the man with the top hat is not at all the teacher. He's the man who is coming to look after the dancers, to be able to get the young dancer. And that's what the guy is pointing. He's pointing that in his painting. Okay, and if you look after that about one of the most important sculpting of the guy, this one. You see, this little sculpting of the guy, and look at that. That has been also scandalous because, in fact, the guy first, when you look at the face of the young girl, who is she's the little dancer from the guy, she's not that beautiful. She even have got kind of a chimpanzee head. You see, the guy don't try to show the dancers as a beautiful lady. He just show there as a very normal ladies. And that sculpting from the guy has been scandalous. Why? Because in fact, she's wearing real clothes. She has got a tutu. She has got ballet shoes. She is wear with real clothes. What does it mean? It means under the clothes she is naked. And of course, this sculpting, they are neck too. Okay, you see, topless and they are neck. But in fact, the piece of clothes is inside the sculpting, so it was, in a sense, acceptable because he wasn't doing only a neck sculpting. He was making the complete things in the sculpting. Here, the guy did something else. He did the girls naked, and then he clothed her with real clothes. And so that has been also completely non-accepted in the time of the guy and about the opera. Okay, so now let's carry on our visit, and we are going to go back to the backstage where we started the tour because I haven't shown you the backstage yet. Sorry, I got put it out what was the point about the statue. Oh, I said that the statue has got, which is necked, but has got the closed part of the statue. So she's necked, but the sculptor doesn't show her neck because he put the clothes in. Degas did the opposite. He sculpted the young lady completely naked, and then he clothed her with real clothes. So it was like using a neck model. I don't know if you understand exactly what I mean. So after that period of 1870, 1900s, where the opera, as I told you, were used not only as a place of music, the opera get more and more professional. And after the First World War, the opera was a really incredible, great place. So at the beginning of the opera, the Paris Opera was not that fantastic. But after the First World War and after the Second World War too, the Paris Opera is going to be considered as one of the best school of dancing in the world. You know, with the St. Petersburg Opera and this kind of location. So the Paris Opera is bringing every time what we call danseuses étoiles, star dancers, which are some of the best in the world. And that's why it has always been considered and still considered to be a fantastic place to be. And nowadays, the school of the dancers is not located anymore here. What a pity. The young dancers are not taught anymore in that building. Now the school of ballet has been moved to Nanterre in the west part, outside of Paris, in the outskirts in Nanterre. And the Academy of Music now is in Villepinte, in the north part of Paris. So in fact, in the building, we don't have any more young students. We just have got the professional dancer. And I wanted to finish the tour by a beautiful images that I love. If I have it, where is it? I don't have it. Yes, I have it. This image, which is the ceiling of the place where you go to sit when you see the opera. I just wanted also to explain you because lots of people are thinking that is from the origin of the opera. Not at all, because this is a Chagall, and Chagall didn't pen that in 1875. It would have been a little bit difficult for him. So he didn't do that in 1875. Okay, this is time of Chagall. So before we had a first, yes, Chagall ceiling. So before we had a first painting, and that painting has been covered by that Chagall one. And when you go inside the opera, you see that from the place. If you are on the stage, that's what you see, and the Chagall ceiling is just above his seat. So, my dear friends, have you got some questions that I can reply to you about the Paris Opera? And I will be delightful to be able to reply to any question you have if you want me to give some more information about the opera and about this tour. First, I hope you enjoyed the tour and just tell me if you've got some question. I will be very happy to reply to any. I just see if I've got some more image to show you. No, the opera lights up in the evening, maybe? No. Degas, no. I should say Degas was nearly the opposite of that. You know, he was kind of. No, no. In fact, Degas didn't like the dancer, to be honest. You know, Degas painted the dancer, but he wasn't really a great fan of the dancer. And he wasn't a dirty old man ever. Of the lobby, no, I don't have with me. Yes, I have pictures, but I don't have pictures with me. Sorry. Yeah, yeah. I don't have a painting of the guy or a self portrait, but I should put the next for the next tour. Yes, 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 absolutely, Nilu. But that was the idea, He didn't want to. I can put another painting of the guy if you want. Uh, yes, you see that painting of the guy, and you see here the teacher. That's a teacher. You see, he's not wearing a top hat. He's not wearing a black coat. He's wearing his kind of a blues and a stick. Okay, and you can see on the girls, which is sitting on the piano on the left, that I put a red circle. I just reposted because it's moved. Uh, you see the girl, which is on the red circle on the side, she's completely exhausted and she doesn't look either beautiful. So Degas was not, if I can say, showing the dancer as beautiful ladies. So this is something that I wanted to twist twist the neck. I forgot the sentence, but that's how I wanted to put back the truth straight, something like that. I'm said because contrarily as what we think, Degas wasn't a fan of the dancer. He painted the dancer, but more to show the truth of the opera than more to be a great fan of the dancer. Yes, there is a lake behind the opera. It's not a lake, in fact. It's water because when we build the opera and when we dig the place, as Paris has got a lot of water underneath, there was water which was coming up from the ground, and we didn't have at that time the technology that Eiffel used later on for the Eiffel Tower, but that was 30 years later. So we didn't have the good things to pump the water. So finally, we had to deal with the water, and we put the structure of the opera, the walls of the opera, with this kind of pond. And in fact, nowadays, we can't take the water out because the water is part of the structure of the opera. If we take the water out, the opera would collapse. And the pond is also used as a kind of a tank in case of a fire for the fireman to take the water. And also at the top of the opera, we have got bees hive, which are producing honey that you can buy from the honey beans. Thank you, Jim. Yes, yes, Diana. So, my friends, thank you to have been with me. If you want more history of Paris, come with me on Thursday, and we will have a nice tour about the Roman time in Paris, going and walking the street of Paris from the Romans terms, to the Romans arena. So we're going to make quite a long walk and passing by the Latin Quarter and to speak about the street in this Latin Quarter. And we are going to start at the terms, I think, I don't know, and we finish at the arena or the opposite. I don't know yet, I haven't decided, but for sure we're going to do both. And then on Saturday, I've got a tour. This is my birthday, not my birthday, but my son's birthday. So I will be in the north of France to go to visit him. And that day there is a kites national competition on the seaside. So I will show you Burke, which is a city in the north of France, where they have got every year all the national and international competition of kites. So I will show you the seaside. I will show you the beautiful building from the imperatrice time, and I will try to show you some kites if the weather is good, because if no weather, not good weather, no kites. And of course, une baraque à frites. Une baraque à frites. Yes, yes, yes. To eat what? You know how we call the sandwich over there in the north of France? If you take a sandwich with a French fries and the sausage inside, they call it an American. So if you go to Berck, and if you go to a baraque à frites, which is how can I say, a kind of truck, a food truck selling French fry, you will have an American. And don't worry, we are not going to eat an American boy or an American man or an American girl. We're just going to have a sandwich. But that can be surprising for you. Hearing an American, s'il vous plaît. And you say, oh, I'm American, so let's have two. Oh, fricadelle, no, no. Fricadelle, you have to test it, And if you test it, after that, I will tell you what there is in the fricadelle. But don't worry, nobody died about it. So my friends, I've been very, very happy to be with you. Thank you, of course, for your tips. Never forget that we do live with your tips, and without tips, we won't be able to carry on. So thank you for the tips. It's important first, important for also for the channel, because they take part of our tips to how can I say, to improve the channel. And so thank you so much for that. Thank you so much to having you with me, and see you on Thursday for the Latin part of Paris, and see you on Saturday for some seaside in the north of France. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.